Welcome, T-Birds, to the Career Cafe podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Hodge, and I'm here with my co-hosts, kicking off episode 1, Trekker and Karl. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
It's good to be here.
Nice to be here.
Awesome. So really quickly.
No, just nice.
Just nice.
I wouldn't go with that. We'll see in a minute.
We'll see how great this season is going to be. Fantastic.
Season 2.
Season 2 of the Career Cafe, where we don't drink anything from a cafe. We are just a coffeeless cafe.
Red Solo Cup.
Really quick, brief recap of season 1. So last season, we had the Career Center host most of those episodes. I believe they hosted all of them. This is before I started here. And we went through the job search process.
Mm-hmm.
So day 1, you realize you need a job. What do you do? To the final day of how do you negotiate your salary, every step in between.
Yep.
It was really interesting. It was fun.
Yeah, I love the, I'm not a very good interviewer. The interview skills were highlight for sure. That type of thing, especially having a self-confidence when you go into an interview, that's kind of what seals the deal. That was a highlight for me from season 1.
Yeah.
Well, I think, to address the very basics that most students have coming in, how do you do it? You don't get taught very often how do you write a good resume, how do you interview, how to prepare for an interview, what's the application process look like, what do employers look for? And so it set the table really nicely to advance the discussion, which we'll kind of look at this year with some of the guests that we have.
Yeah.
Good lineup.
Season 1 is actually, I can thank season 1 for being able to sit here right now. Season 1 came out and was released while I was applying for this current job. So not too often do you get to listen to your hiring manager talk about what they want to hear in an interview or what they want to see on a resume. So I remember listening to the final episode of how to negotiate a salary going into my final interview. But I'm here.
Yep.
Here we are.
What matters.
Yeah. So season 2, we've already filmed a couple of episodes. So I'm excited. We have some really good guests. Trekker and I met with Jamie Shaw.
Jamie's great.
She's awesome. She had some really good insights and a lot of experience that, I don't know, when you grow up in a small town, live in a small town your whole life, you don't imagine becoming director of operations for a multinational company. She's a big deal.
She is a big deal. She has a huge resume. World traveler for work, has had a hand in many of Olympic events across the world, states games, country Olympic style games. And other than that, just a great person and an alumna of SUU, right?
Yeah.
She's wonderful.
And then Karl, we met with Tommy Gilmore from Noisy Bird Marketing.
Right.
I think he's going to be awesome. That's a long episode.
It was. Very worth it, though.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of interesting points of view, coming from someone that was kind of unsure of themselves, where do you want to end up? And then life hits you and kind of forces you into making some different types of decisions. And so it's an interesting conversation to see how he ended up, starting his own company. Yeah. And the role that, his background as a student here that helped lead him down that path. So it's a good.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good contrast from season 1, where season 1, it's pretty cookie cutter. It's what you expect. If the journey goes perfectly, these are the steps that you take. But some of our guests, they highlight that not everything always goes to plan.
Most everything does not go to plan.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have a plan, and you just keep taking that step forward.
And still the skills from season 1,
right?
I mean, it does. It prepares you, sets the table, helps you navigate through the process. And so I guess in season 2, we'll kind of go beyond just that process and look at kind of how life kind of helps you apply the processes. So, I mean, perfect. Sierra that we talked to, she started working summers for the national parks and decided that really was a lot funner than some of the courses she was taking here. So she merged the two together and gave us a really fun kind of career journey of hers. So
yeah,
very good.
So I think it'll be good for our listeners to, tune into the following episodes. Today really is just going to be a little kickoff of maybe why they should listen to us. So,
wow.
I mean,
I'm excited to hear
that. Tell me about you two, Trekker. What do you do?
Bono's
Two
awesome.
of us collectively. Maybe. Anyway,
Anyway,
what do you want to know?
Let's start with, what do you do for SUU?
I work.
What
My
do
name's
you
Trekker. I work for the university. That is what I do. I
All
work
right.
in the alumni relations office. I mainly manage our data for our alumni. So a lot of lines on spreadsheets, but for some reason I enjoy it. I'm an alumni of SUU as well. Great place. When I came to school, I guess I knew I never wanted to leave because here we are.
right?
And you're the same way. I
It-
think it just
exactly.
took you a little
Took me-
boomerang effect.
Had to wander
come
around a
back.
little bit to find my way
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
But of course, when I was here, now that's the sheep are the big thing, going down that way. When I was there, it was dinosaurs. But, yeah. So, so I'm the assistant director, Karl Rostron, assistant director of career services over employee relations. So I work with employers to get them on campus so that students can meet them, learn about the companies they represent and what they do, help them find part-time jobs while they're here, internships, and then of course the big goal, help them find that lifelong career goal of theirs. And so it's fun. I get to work with a lot of employers, a lot of alums. We cover from Vegas all the way to Salt Lake to try to find, and even north, trying to find employers to come on campus. And it's amazing to see the willingness.
Oh yeah.
Especially amongst alum. To come back and give back to campus. And so we want to kind of merge that excitement that students have with the excitement that alumni have to come back, and also employers. I mean, they have a real need, and we're an important part in helping them, meet their needs. And so
it's not just a gimme, right? They're not. I
Right.
mean, as much as alums love to give back to the
Right.
school, they do have jobs that need to be filled.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And we want to help students learn about them. Sometimes, career fairs that we do, one of the things that we do a couple of months before graduation, all of a sudden, students are panicking if they don't have a job. If they already have a job, they're already kind of moved on. And so we want to help introduce students to employers that sophomore and junior year so that they can make informed decisions, so they can be excited about that senior year. They know the goal they're working for. They've learned about the companies and the different things that they have, because it goes so far beyond, Coca-Cola, all they do is put brown stuff in bottles and then put bottles on shelves, and yet they have every job imaginable under that umbrella. And so sometimes students don't realize the types of jobs that are out there with the different companies. And so part of my job is helping them be exposed to the just variety of jobs, not just assume that because the company has a name that you recognize from a commercial on TV, that's not all they do. And so
You get
it's
your
fun.
accounting degree, you don't have to go work for Deloitte, right?
Right.
You can go work in any industry.
Anybody.
Because everybody needs an accountant.
Exactly.
Everybody needs all sorts of work.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys.
Carl's job's a little more interesting than mine.
More than spreadsheets. There's still spreadsheets, though, right?
There is.
There's still
There's
spreadsheets.
still
There's
spreadsheets.
always spreadsheets.
Oh yeah.
And I will hire somebody to do them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get into some questions. This is the Career Cafe podcast. So let's talk a little bit career. Gentlemen, what is one piece of advice that you wish you had gotten early on in your career or fresh out of college?
Oh, for me, it's okay to experiment. It's okay to not have your life mapped out for you that day of graduation. It's okay to try things. I think that's not only the biggest thing I wish somebody would have told me, but the biggest thing that I tell students when I talk to them: don't shut doors. Don't think or assume you know. Experience everything. Talk to everybody and find out what they do and find out how they got there, and just experience life. And it's amazing when you open yourself up to the different places life will lead you. I mean, my journey is I've wandered a bit, and it's been quite exciting. But it was, you talked about growing up in a small town. I grew up in a small town, about 500 people. It was first generation college student. I was never leaving that small town. And to end up now coming from, 17, 18 years in Vegas, where I, was a recruiting manager for a global company. I traveled 3 weeks out of the month, stayed in great resorts all over. And, we were hiring 900 people a month, all around the world. I was specifically in charge of the Western United States, Canada, and Mexico. And so, I was working in different companies, different countries, different cultures, hiring everything under the gamut in like hospitality. And, it was all by kind of staying open. What is it you do? And asking questions and talking to people and letting life kind of take me some places that I just didn't even know existed.
I'm similar to Karl. I grew up in a town about 500 people and, first generation college student as well.
Yeah.
And was this close to going to work the factory job my dad did and similar type of work his dad did and just continue that. But the piece of advice I would give anybody is to have confidence in yourself. I had none and didn't know what I could do, didn't know I was capable of much at all. But when you learn that confidence, because it's not natural to everybody, you realize you can do anything you put your mind to. You can go anywhere and work anything. I mean, who would have thought Karl would have that kind of good job, right?
Right.
But he had that self-confidence, was able to pull it off.
Well, and it's okay to be successful in your own eyes.
Yeah.
Not to fall under everyone else's expectations for you. You don't have to be this or that or what mom or grandma or dad wants you to be. It's okay to find yourself, to find something that you enjoy doing.
And to be proud of it.
Right. And decide what your own values are. I think that's the first thing. I think that's a journey that we all go through. College is a very big part of that, is figuring out, who really am I? Aside from now that I'm living kind of on my own and I'm meeting people from different cultures and different value systems than my own, maybe for the first time, and you're kind of experiencing all these different strange things. And so now you get to decide kind of who am I and where do I want to go and how do I fit into this big ball of gas or under. And so
it's like you started with, go out and try everything.
Yeah.
Figure out who you are, figure out your values and what's important to you, and build that confidence in yourself.
Failure isn't failure. It's a different way of learning. It's as important to learn what you don't like in life as it is to figure out what you do. And you can't figure either one of those out without experimenting a little bit, trying it out and asking questions.
Perfect. Yeah. So really quickly, we talked a little bit about, the journey takes you different places throughout your career. What were your guys' degrees in? And, do you use your degree now? Anything that you learned from it that you do still use if it's not related?
Social sciences degree, technically social sciences teaching degree. I was supposed to be a high school history teacher.
Nice.
And I'm not. Isn't that amazing? But you certainly used your degree. You could, I think more than half of college, your education is not learning how to do the formula and when the Battle of Waterloo was. It's you're learning how to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You learn what it means to educate yourself, how to retain that information, how to work under pressure, how to work with other people in group projects.
How to articulate it.
Yeah. So that 4-year degree for me, it's like, I'm a social sciences guy, I use it every day because I learned how to learn while I was in college.
Nice. Yeah.
So, junior college first, I was an English major. That failed miserably.
You speak English.
Very poorly. Very poorly.
You use it every day.
I have people that'll swear I can't speak English, but anyway, it's if you take into account dialects, then I guess I would be considered. I came to SUU, was a broadcast major, weatherman and sports anchor, that fun stuff. And then I moved in. I was political science, so I was going to go to Washington and be a political reporter. And as I got looking more and more at that, it was like, do I want to raise a family under that kind of circumstance, traveling all the time, trying to find your place? And so, I did graduate my communications degree in political science, but it taught me really how to navigate the world. I was aware of what was going on in the world. I then knew kind of how I fit in and could have intelligent conversations and articulate myself. And directly did it relate to me getting a job? No, but it was the reason I got many jobs, because the confidence part plays in, and also just the knowledge that I could hold an intelligent conversation with people about things going on in the world. And I knew how to learn. And it demonstrates completion. It demonstrates finishing. It demonstrates your ability to learn and grow and adapt. And some majors are very specific, and you're going to learn technical skills that you have to have, and they're going to directly relate to you getting a job. Others are more soft in the way that they relate to you getting a job. And then my master's degree is in public administration, and learning that part of how you run systems and organizations and people. I use it every day.
I'm working on my MPA as well right now, and I find myself thinking back to a couple classes on the daily. You just people. You learn people. You learn systems. But I want to go back to what you said earlier. That those degrees, your bachelor's, your undergrad, whatever it is, you learn the basics of communication, being able to articulate. And that makes me realize, as much as I hated generals when I was an undergrad, boy, I sure use them all the time now. I'm going back and some jobs you're in Microsoft Word, you're doing mailings, you're doing Excel formulas, you're doing those basics. And a lot of employers, degrees required, doesn't really matter what one, and it's because they want to know that you can do those basic things in an office and be able to communicate to other people.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to prove that you can do those like entry-level tasks before you can take on those bigger ones that are maybe a little more exciting to you. So, okay, well, great. I wanna jump into our next section then. This is called Career Myths. We've already touched on this, so this one doesn't have to be long. But first, career myth. I just want your guys' thoughts on this. My major will determine my career.
Oh, well, we just dispelled that one.
Yeah.
Myth busted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gone.
Gonzo.
Not that it doesn't help. And like you said, Karl, like you can aim your career at whatever your major is going to be, but you don't need to feel trapped.
Right.
By, maybe you're a senior, you're in your last few classes and you realize like, oh, I want to do something different. That's okay.
Couple examples. Besides us, we kind of, my wife's a financial analyst for a big company. Does all their numbers, all their projections, everything. She's a communications major. But because of her training, her minors, job experience, her resume, and then certifications outside of school, she does that job and she does it very, very well. I'm a social sciences major. I do data now. But yeah, a lot of times I don't know hardly anybody that really is stuck to it, what their field is.
There's some that really are. They know, and their mind is just driven in a certain way, and they excel in one field and always will. And that's awesome, but both are okay.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, next myth. The jobs I've had in the past don't count as experience. Examples: fast food, retail, things like that.
So, my background, I was a corporate recruiter for a long time, and so all I did was read resumes, read applications, and interview people. Tens of thousands probably in my time. And I looked at everything. I would rather see, I went to work every day, I completed tasks, I excelled at whatever job I had at the time.
Didn't get fired.
Yeah, and was able to move forward rather than I sat at home, I'm holding out for management, and the progression in no matter what job you're in means more to me as an employer than I'm a manager and I'm worth it and I'm going to sit and do nothing until I get that. Demonstrate it, show me. And so, there's no unimportant job as long as you do it well and you apply and you treat it with dignity and respect and do it to your best. I've been offered so many jobs. And I've always worked 2 or 3 jobs. I'm hyper. I like to work. And so, I've worked what people look at and say, well, that's kind of a meaningless job, menial tasks. And yet all of one, I was offered promotions at them, even though it was my part-time job, because I worked. And so there's no unimportant or less than job.
Oh, the world needs bridge builders and ditch diggers, does it not?
Yeah.
But it's really what you take from that.
Right.
If you're a Subway sandwich artist, what matters is, hey, maybe you're just filling the gaps between your real job, but You're showing up on time.
Yeah.
You're completing the tasks, like you say, but you're also pulling some meaning from it. Like,
Wow.
I didn't just stack meat on a bun. You know, I was leading. I was improving systems. I made my workplace a better place. Here's how.
Dealt with
And
customers.
demonstrating it.
Yeah.
Solved problems, whatever it is, but pulling meaning and then being able to articulate it into your resume, if that's the case.
The real thing that changed my opinion on what we would consider those menial jobs or whatever, when I had the chance to work for the Olympics in Salt Lake in 2002. I was one of the directors of the Olympic Village. And one of the big things at the Olympic Village was the McDonald's all-world team. And the McDonald's at the Olympic Village, it was pretty freaking awesome, I can tell you that. But it was made from people that worked at McDonald's from all over the world. It was a big deal for them to get to that point. And to see the professionalism that they brought to work, the attitude that they brought to work, and they were at the Olympics, you know, they were giving sandwiches to gold medalists, you know, and coach people that we all knew and see on TV every day. And talking to the managers there, that was like their goal. And they made good money. You know, if you excel at anything, the opportunity is there. So don't look at and say, man, this is a minimum wage job, or I'm only going to make this. If you excel at it, put your mind to it, there's money and a good career and a good living to be made in every place.
Everywhere.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. Some of those jobs, like, they teach really good skills.
They do.
Like Chick-fil-A, not sponsored, by the way. Yeah.
Right.
Chick-fil-A, if you want to sponsor us.
come on.
But I mean, I've been to Chick-fil-A and gotten better customer service than like insurance,
Right.
phone carriers.
Oh, yeah.
I walk in and I'm like, geez, is this like a church? You guys are just so like nice and welcoming. It's crazy.
There are great training programs
Yeah.
available, and a lot of them will pay for even more training and more specific education.
Yep.
So yeah, don't shortchange things.
Well, and take pride in what
Yeah.
you do.
No matter what.
Your life that you're living, it's not in the future. It's right now. So take pride in it. You know, whatever it is you got to do, whether it's you want to work there or not, and just take pride.
The future doesn't just come. You know, it's a journey to get to the future, and that's where you are right now. So.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay, on to the next myth.
Next myth.
Success equals money plus big title.
That's a personal thing. What do you what's your definition of success?
I have a good buddy from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, central of the African continent, right? Genius student. He came over here for his education to the States, and we met here at SUU. He was in the master's program, and he finished up his master's. I got his master's in finance, his undergrad in finance, and he was looking to go to get his doctorate in finance. And he's looking at these schools, and I applied to a few, and I don't know any of them, but, you know, he says, Trekker, I got into one of the top schools, one of the top finance programs in the world. It's in London, England. And I'm like, that's awesome, you know? And he said, but I'm about to get married. I'm engaged to this girl. I love her. He's like, what would you do? I mean, I have the opportunity to make so much money, but I'm going to be away for 80 hours a week. I could choose that career path and go down it, or I could be at home with my wife and kids and be, what do you choose? You know? And it comes down to your personal definition.
Mm-hmm.
I know plenty of people who find success at work, name, title, money. I'm not one of those people personally. I want to find a job that I can leave at 5 o'clock, get home to my wife and kid every day. You know, that's where I find joy.
And spend weekends out kicking the dirt, looking for rocks,
Looking for trilobites and arrowheads.
Yeah,
I'd rather do that than an office.
But again, it's okay if you want the other one
100%.
too. One of my bosses, I remember he walked in the office and he said, well, today was an okay day. I just made $52 million. And he did. He personally, on a sale, made $52 million. And that was Thursday, you know. And
I think he'll take the rest of the day off.
no, that's just it. He didn't, because the goal in life was to work
And
to make more. That wasn't enough. There's $52 million for tomorrow. But that was his joy. That's what he had all the titles in the world. He never went home. And he was okay with it. He loved it. He loved the prestige that come with it. He loved being able to share the money, because he did. He was good to people. But he associated success with a dollar sign, and that's what made him happy, and that was fine. That's all right. For me, I said, hey, it's nice to have a little pat on the back every now and then, but it's nicer I need to put a worm on a hook and float around in an ocean or something, you know.
Yeah.
And it's okay that we go back to the personal values that you have and how you want to define success. But that's, you need to define it. You know, like what's the show, the City Slickers? You know, there's one key to success. You know, and well, what is it? It's different to everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that being said, if the world was run by guys like Karl and I, we'd probably still be living in caves.
We would, yeah. There'd be nothing done. No.
No, I think the definition of happiness is definitely something you got to figure out for yourself.
College is a great time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay, next myth.
I feel like we're those two Mythbuster dudes.
Right.
Like I would be Jamie, the one with the beret and the glasses.
Yeah.
Is that Jamie? I don't know.
I think so.
Mythbusters. Anyway, go on. We're busting myths.
Employers don't care about degrees anymore.
Depends on the job, right?
It does. And it depends on, you're talking about a person. And so when you say employer, if it's an employer that worked his way up and didn't get a degree, then he may not value it as much as somebody that worked through that degree and realizes what it took to get it. And of course, depending upon the area, degrees are absolutely vital in some. They're a requirement. You can't get around it. And so, yes, they're valuable. But like I said, I hired for all different kinds of positions. I hired from maids and janitors through CEOs. And for me and most of my hiring team, most of the managers I worked with, the degree, if it wasn't specifically required, it was a demonstration of character. It was a demonstration of your value system. It was a demonstration of completing and finishing something. It was a demonstration that I know you know how to get along with people, to articulate. I dare put you in a room with somebody and that you'll carry on an intelligent conversation that will make me and the company look better. So there's just a myriad of things that fit into that. But I would say it's every bit as valuable, if not more today. I mean, we've always gone through swings in employment and swings of what's important. If we look at AI now and think, oh my gosh, the world's being taken over by AI, and you have to follow these steps, and AI is going to tell you how to do it. You know, in my day, there were things called books, and there were a whole bunch of them written about, oh, this is the way you have to do a resume. You have to follow this format and this. And there were tens of thousands of books just on how to write a resume. And so we always go through these ebbs and flows, and in my days, the stone tablets, and there's always people that have ideas and opinions on how things need to be done and should be done, and can make money off of convincing other people that they know better. And there is no formula. When it comes to me and you talking, it's two human beings talking. We each have life experience. We each have beliefs and value systems, and we're trying to figure out, are we going to get along? Can we work together? And can we be successful? Can you make me money? Yeah.
I think one thing that, I recently graduated. One of the things that kept me going, because there was never really like an expectation to get a degree. Grew up in a blue collar family. They didn't, I was first gen college student like you guys. And so it was like college was something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But for the students that are sitting there thinking, like, do I need to do this? Like, do employers really even care about it? I'd much rather look back in 10 years with the regret of, well, I wasted about 4 years, like, doing a degree that I don't really use now, than 10 years from now going, geez, I wish I had a degree.
Yeah.
Because I think that regret is probably a lot more costly, a lot more like, oh, dang, like, my time is kind of past, than if you're in it right now, you're never going to look back and be like, well, that was completely pointless.
Well,
like, I didn't learn anything.
And it's an investment.
You know?
Like it is what you put into it.
It's not, you're not going to look back and say, I wasted 4 years and all that money if you did something while you were here. Yeah. If you grew as a person and developed your value system and decided what you wanted and what you didn't want. I think it's hard to say anybody wasted 4 years unless they really made that intent.
Well, we graduate every year. I think last spring we graduated 180 MBA students in May. And they all got the same degree. They all got their Master's of Business Administration. But one of them went, got the grade, did the assignments, checked the boxes, got their piece of paper. And another one did those same assignments but left with connections, relationships, experiences because they put so much more into it. And maybe those two people will put their resumes to the same employer, but the person that's going to get the job is the person who put time and money, effort into this degree. Yep.
Yeah. I think a better way to reword that myth then to make it true is even if employers don't care about degrees, you will if you put the time in and if you put in the effort. So, okay. Well, thank you. Those are all the myths I have for today.
Myths busted.
Let's move into the next section. I forgot about this part. I'm excited about this. So these are horror stories of people in their early career. I've got a couple of them here. Just want your raw emotions and thoughts on these. I'm going to try and read them and not stumble through them.
All right, you got tissue.
You'll get my raw reaction right now.
I applied to this company that had terrible reviews on Glassdoor, but it was close to where I lived, so I thought at least it's close by. I had a phone call interview with the director. He kept on yawning throughout the interview like he was exhausted, but I still told him I was interested. He told me he drives 45 miles to get to work each day, and I told him I was just 6 miles away. Then I had an on-site interview, which was supposed to be with the director, but he didn't come, so I interviewed with a manager who asked me some questions and gave me a tour. He asked me how I heard about the company, and I said I had read about it on Glassdoor. Then he said, "Oh, there are some pretty bad reviews on there. I laugh when I read them sometimes. You must be pretty desperate if you still want to work here." I just laughed and said I was still interested. Then I had a third interview with the director, and he told me this is a tough place to work, and a lot of people crack under the pressure. Then he asked me to send him some school projects that I had worked on. And the next interview was going to be with the vice president of the company. He also gave me his business card. The next day I sent him my projects, and within an hour I got a rejection email. I was dumbfounded. But looking back, there were so many red flags. The reviews were right, and it seemed to be a miserable place to work. Day after day, I kept looking for a job, finally found one a couple weeks later, but I felt like I dodged a bullet.
Raw reaction. You dodged a bullet. Sometimes it's worth driving an extra 20 minutes to not be miserable 40 hours a week. You know what I mean? Or in that case, it'd probably be closer to 50 hours a week.
Yeah. Don't always believe what the internet tells you either. Glassdoor. Okay, you had to mention Glassdoor.
I know.
You're probably going to get just the negatives on there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Negative
true.
people voice themselves more than positive people, but also Glassdoor for employers. Pay them money, get on their subscription service, and they remove all the negative reviews and only put positives.
Are you whistleblowing Glassdoor right now?
I am.
Are we going to get a cease and desist?
I hope. No. That was a big shock to me when I met with the reps, and they say, "Hey, we'll just take all your negative stuff off for a certain amount of money." And so the main point isn't to bash on Glassdoor or any other. It's that people can put anything they want on the internet. So personal stories, take them for what they're worth. Did they have a negative experience, and will that transfer onto you? Do your own research. Find out about don't avoid red flags, obviously. If you've talked to 5 people and they all hate it, there's probably a trend there, right?
Yeah. Well, I think he did it the right way. It sounds like. I mean, the story would have been a lot worse if it was, I read that there was a company that had bad reviews on Glassdoor, so I didn't apply.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it.
And, sometimes, we talked about with Tommy, life happens and you have to take a job. It may not be your dream job or even one that you like, but you have to live. And that's different than a career journey. You've always got that career journey, but sometimes there are those detours where you just have to survive for a little while.
Got to pay the bills.
And right. And so don't confuse the two. You don't want to stay miserable for long, and you don't want to have to be miserable if you don't have to. But, to put food on a plate. Sometimes you're miserable for a little bit, but don't let that be your life. You don't have to stay miserable. And what are you doing to get out of that situation? Getting a job is a job, and you got to work hard on it. And sometimes it works real quickly, sometimes it doesn't. But just like with schooling, are you in it for the long haul? Are you in it for the grind? Are you in it for the degree, that self-actualization or whatever happiness that comes at the end? And, it's character building, it's trial, it's all those other things that once you're at the other end of it, you look back and say, I learned a little bit, never want to be there again.
Yep.
And so this is what I'm going to do to avoid it. But also experience things for yourself, make your own opinions, because what I like and what Trekker like could be totally different things. I could be totally miserable. I would be totally miserable if I was Trekker for many reasons, but especially if I had to look at spreadsheets all the time. But
And I don't have the social battery to do Karl's job.
And that's fine.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. That's why we're different. And so different strokes for different folks, but find what makes you happy. Don't live somebody else's life.
Yeah. I do want to throw in, when I was reading this story, I initially thought, okay, well, that's why we do interviews. And that's why we interview at companies. Too many people, I think, walk in. I would have loved to have seen how this story was different if he got offered the job. Because, do you accept it at that point after you've had 3 bad experiences and several bad reviews? I think students too often sell themselves short and think that I just have to take whatever job is there.
Yeah, they do.
Regardless of what they offer me or how it seems. An interview is a two-way street.
Exactly.
And you're going in to see if they fit right with you.
Right. It's your interview as much as the employer's, and that's a common mistake.
Yeah. That's why when they ask you the question at the end of, do you have any questions? You absolutely should not just be like, no. Like, what are the next steps? You should be curious about what the culture's like. What is the day-to-day like? Who are you going to be working with? What does a day in the life of your job look like?
And what are the company goals? What are your goals? What do you like and dislike? And
Bring up what's important to you. Like, will I be getting home at 5:00 every day? Will I be working weekends? What's what's expected?
And I think that sometimes you have to go through that first job to actually realize that those are the questions you ask. Because you get that question in your first interview and you go, well, what can I even ask?
You could listen to this podcast.
Or you could listen to us and learn.
Right.
We did the hard work for you.
We suffered so that you can fly.
Right.
Okay, next story.
All right.
In college, I went to an interview for an internship. The hiring manager comes to the room holding an iPad. We do introductions, and then he shows me the iPad and says, "So this is you," and plays a YouTube video of me and my friend from high school doing a silly singing video. I was mortified and turned bright red, on the verge of tears. He was laughing, and he said he wanted to teach me a lesson about Googling myself before an interview. There was nothing inappropriate or offensive on the video, but I was still so embarrassed. I got offered the internship, but wow.
If they Googled Karl, they'd find a guy in a Sasquatch suit fishing by the pier.
They would find that. Yes. And that's all they find. But
I kind of had a lesson like that. I took one of those jobs, kind of you have to put food on the table job, not my career job, right? And walked into the office my first day, and most folks are pretty kind and welcoming to the new people, but I just got a bunch of empty stares and almost cold shoulder, and I was like, what in the world, I unbeknownst to me, I found out about a month later, everybody had, Googled me, Facebook stalked me, whatever. And to my disadvantage, my Facebook profile hadn't been updated in a while, and I had a beard and very long hair. They didn't know who I was when I walked in with short hair and
like
clean
the guy
shaven.
with long hair and beard.
No.
Oh no.
But it does, it's just like they didn't know who I was just because of that. And it goes to show whether you've got something embarrassing online or not, it can affect you.
Coming from the other end, from the hiring angle, people were surprised when they walked into their interview with me and I was asking questions about their personal life and their attitudes and even groups they belong to. And they're like, I always looked up social media profiles.
Why wouldn't you?
And even people that put up walls and had hidden and blocked and private, I just paid a company to get me in, and so I could see them anyway. And so there's nothing secret or private about what you do online. And I looked at it all. Very few times that I use that as any kind of a hiring criteria, but I wanted to know the people. I want to know who they are. Do they fit in here? What are their goals? What do they do in their free time? And do their goals align with the company goals? Are they going to come in here and just not fit in and cause problems? And are they going to be happy here?
Yep.
That's an important thing. It's not always negative why I'm looking on there. It can be just as positive. But yeah, in this day and age, you got to think about the memes you put out there, and you got to think about the jokes that you tell. It's a different world than I grew up in, where pretty much anything went.
Yeah, you leave a footprint everywhere.
Yeah, and so just think about it, be cognizant of what you do, and know that at some point people are going to be looking at it.
Yeah. I think that too often people beat the drum of, well, you shouldn't post anything. But Trekker, your story, I mean, it pointed out you need to like update a little bit, otherwise it has the opposite effect.
Yeah.
That used to be the key was like, well, I'm just not going to post anything, or I'm going to keep my account private. You realize that you have the opportunity to control what your digital footprint is.
Yep.
And so you should be using LinkedIn to post your accomplishments, post what you're working on.
Right.
And we're in the world now where your employer's allowed to know that you like to go to concerts on the weekend. You don't have to hide everything that you do.
And that if you put on a Sasquatch outfit and go fishing, you end up one day being the cover of a seafood processing plant in Washington. Hey, I didn't plan that, but they saw it, and there I am. I'm on the cover.
And you get royalties to this day.
I get some free crab every now and then.
The leftover
right.
crap.
More than they had to do.
That's right. Yeah. So, yeah.
Not bad. Oh, that's good.
Well, I think we're getting to the end. I think we're wrapping up with that.
He's had enough.
I've had enough.
Yeah.
No, but thank you guys. I'm really excited for this season.
This is gonna
actually,
be a good
you
one.
guys are good co-hosts, and I think that we're going to talk to some great people. So hopefully our T-Birds enjoy it. Hopefully they like a little bit of our takeaways and find something from this. And if nothing else, at least they're entertained. Hopefully.
We hope so.
Hopefully.
Right.
Season 2 will be good.
Yeah.
Season 2 will be good. Okay. Well, T-Birds, make sure to tune in. If you have questions or if you want to ask us things for future podcasts, you can DM us at SUU Career Center on Instagram. Be sure to follow all of our other socials. You guys have social media too, right, Trekker?
Yeah. It's at SUU Alumni on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep. So follow all the SUU accounts, follow us, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.